Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a wintertime tarp camping video. As you can see, the setup is already set up. There are a couple things though that I do want to mention. One, this location that I'm in, I have been here with the same tarp, just a different color. So I'm kneeling on a fire pit that I built months ago. Now I knew this area was going to be nice and snow covered. The forest is very, very beautiful today. And I knew it was going to be flat because I actually broke down and purchased a new piece of gear. So behind me, I do have a new sleeping pad. This is the Thermarest NeoAir X-Therm Max. The reason why I got a new pad is because I am tired of sleeping cold on the climate pads. I gotta say, it's been in the works for a little while now. I purchased 2 climate pads a year ago. One is an R value of 4.4, the other is an R value of 6.5. Every time I sleep on them, I freeze. I wake up cold. I cannot use a standalone pad with climate. So I said enough's enough. I broke down and I purchased this NeoAir Max. I am telling you, I do not regret it. I love it. 6.9 of an R value, of a true R value. And I sleep super hot on that, just on the ground with a sleeping bag. I've tested it out in my yard in the winter and I live up on the mountain and it works perfectly fine. So bring you guys up to speed with that. So yes, I do have my Wolf Den tarp. I do have my North Face Blue Kazoo sleeping bag here. Now I've had this guy for over 6 years and still going strong. Packs down very, very small. No, this isn't the stuff sack it came in. This is actually a stuff sack from a different sleeping bag, but I like it because it's durable and I can really scrunch it down. So that's my North Face Blue Kazoo sleeping bag. Size comparison, very, very small. Now, I'm going to leave this in the stuff sack until later on because right now I have my sleeping pad on top of my wax canvas and I've got it pushed back far enough because I'm actually very, very nervous with the down bag and the sleeping pad being right next to the fire pit. I don't want any sparks landing on it. So I'm going to leave this in the stuff sack until later on tonight. I'm just going to place it on top where it's going to stay nice and dry. I might even place it inside of the tarp bag itself because that is quite waterproof. And that'll ensure that the sleeping bag stays dry. Now, I do have the fire pit here, so like I said, I am going to have to get my gloves and scrape all the snow out of here and get it prepped for later on tonight. And I also brought my titanium wok with me today, so I'm going to be cooking with the wok over the fire pit, so that'll be pretty interesting. And I think it's going to be a really nice time out here. So before I get to enjoy myself, I do have quite a bit of work to do. I've got to get everything else set up and get everything tucked in away from the fire and then go and collect some firewood because I need water and I need fire to cook. So let's get some work done. Alright, before it gets too dark, what I'm going to do is I just collected these 2 sticks and my boots are completely soaked, absolutely soaked, and there's no way they're going to dry out tonight unless they're near the fire because I'm not in a hot tent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 long sticks. So I'm going to get one section out of this and the other section out of the other one, and I'm basically going to stick them in the ground, and then I'm going to put 1 boot on top of each upside down and then bring them in close to the fire. So I'll have 2 hanging boots up near the fire, and then I can spin them wherever they're not dry basically. So one on one side of the fire, one on the other side of the fire, and hopefully that will introduce a lot of hot air up inside of the boots as well as heat on the outside of the boots. So I'm going to get this ready, and then I'll have it for later on tonight when I crawl into my sleeping bag. I'll be able to basically, like I said, just kind of watch them, and then hopefully they'll be dry in the morning. That's the plan anyways. So I'm going to get these trimmed up and then get them ready for later on. Alright guys, it is now completely pitch black outside, and I've done a little bit of kind of camp cleanup, but I also altered the tarp a little bit. So you'll notice this end right here is actually folded in. I did that because the wind is coming this way, and I'm not going to have the fire later on tonight, so I want to try and do everything that I can to kind of block the wind from coming into the shelter. So hopefully this little flap here turned in will do the trick. I think it will. And I'll let you guys know in the morning if I was warm or cold, but I think that'll do the trick. My gloves up here are basically almost dry, and then once those are done, it's going to be time to get my boots on there upside down. So I think what I might do is pull my sleeping pad in closer and kind of prop my feet on some firewood or maybe these rocks in my socks, and then put my boots up there so then my feet and my socks will dry at the same time. And then hopefully when I go to bed, my boots and everything will be dry, and then I can move back and let the fire die down and then get some sleep. So this is basically going to be me for the rest of the evening. I want to be soaking in some of this heat, relaxing, and it's basically my time to enjoy camping. So I'm going to shut the camera off, shut these lights off, and I'm going to enjoy some natural fire and the glow of the tarp, and then I'm going to head to bed, and I'll catch you guys in the morning for coffee. Good morning, everybody. It is another beautiful, silent morning out here in the forest. I've already started on my first cup of coffee, and it was much needed because last night it got cold. Let me tell you, it went down to minus 12 degrees Celsius last night. Now, I was totally, completely warm. I actually took my down jacket off and used it as a pillow. I left my sweater on, and I tucked inside of my sleeping bag. I didn't feel any cold from either above me or underneath of me at all. I didn't wake up once. I went to sleep and I stayed asleep all the way till morning, which was excellent. So I've already started on coffee. I do have my first cup of coffee here, and I've probably got another cup and a half in the kettle. I do have my wok placed on an angle over the fire because I do need to make more snow. And I just realized that I can't make more water out of the snow because the kettle's full of coffee. So I got it tipped on a hard angle, so all that smoke's going off the backside. So hopefully I'll be left with some pretty decently tasting water. And the reason why I'm making more water is because I'm doing 2 packs of oatmeal in that. So I'm just going to make up the water, get the oatmeal in the wok, and use that as a giant dish basically. And then I'll keep using my kettle for coffee. So pretty slow morning this morning, I think. Like I said, it was cold last night. It's starting to warm up now, or at least I feel like it's warming up. All the snow is starting to melt off of the tarp, so that kind of shows how much heat actually gets trapped inside of the shelter. And I gotta say, I was really comfortable last night. So I'm gonna continue melting this snow down in the wok, get that ready for the oatmeal, enjoy a bit of coffee, and then hopefully breakfast will be equally satisfying because I am starving. Alright, so the oatmeal's ready. This is just another great use of this wok. And the reason why I love using the wok, especially being titanium, I don't have to worry about it rusting. So last night I turned it upside down and I put all my other goods that I didn't want to get wet or snowed on underneath of it. And it did actually snow a tiny bit, just flurries. So the wok didn't rust, which is excellent. I love that about this. So let's give this oatmeal a go. This is cocoa and sea salt, by the way. So this is kind of a strange mixture of flavors, but it is super good. Mmm. Oh yeah. Whew. Mmm. Very hot. Very hot. Oh yeah. Let that cool down for a few more minutes. Enjoy some of this coffee. Alright, so what I'm going to do is finish up my oatmeal, finish up my coffee. I might toss on another piece of firewood. I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to watch how long that log burns for, because after breakfast it is going to be pack up time. So I do want to get my down sleeping bag back into the stuff sack. And this is a very strange pack up. For most of you regular viewers, you'll know that I never put my sleeping bag back in the stuff sack. I just cram it in my backpack. But today I have a smaller backpack, and everything needs to be packed exactly the way it came out here. Otherwise it won't fit. So I've got my tarp, I've got my wax canvas, which are the 2 hard objects that are going to be more difficult to get in there because the wax canvas is not very pliable. So that's got to go in first. I'm basically going to treat that as a wood stove like I would if I was going hot tenting. So I basically got to fold that rigid, jam it in the bottom of the pack, and then the tarp, and then the sleeping pad, and so on. So it's going to be a little bit of a kind of a remember how I packed it before I came out here scenario. So I'm going to enjoy breakfast, and then I'm going to worry about packing up afterwards. All right, guys, breakfast is all done, and I gotta say that was awesome. Really, really good. That oatmeal hit the spot, and the coffee was icing on the cake. Really, really good. So I do have a little bit of coffee left in my kettle. I'm gonna pour that in here in just a minute, finish that up. My wok is all cleaned out, so I got it set next to the fire, just kind of drying out some of the moisture left in there. And I'm looking over at my gear. I got everything kind of placed in order here, and it honestly doesn't look bad to pack up. I know when you get out in the woods and you get your tarp and everything set up, everything looks bigger and more difficult to pack away, but it's really not. So I'm going to get the tarp packed away first, and then I'm just going to pick away at everything else, get the wax canvas, get all that packed away, and just kind of take my time and do it nicely. And then I think we'll be in a good shape then. So I'm going to finish up my coffee. I'm going to watch this fire and let it kind of smolder out. I probably will have to warm my hands over it because I do have guy lines jammed into the ground on either end of the tarp, and that's going to require digging it out. And I really don't want to use my leather gloves because they're going to get wet again. And if I do need them later in the day, I'd like them to be dry because this fire is eventually going to be put out. So I want to keep my gloves dry. I'm not too worried about cold hands. I can just warm them up right here. But so far, so good. A nice, quiet, slow-paced morning. Very, very peaceful out here with that tiny little dusting of snow. Just enough to kind of fill the little voids of like old footsteps and whatnot. So, very cool. So, like I said, I'm going to finish my coffee, empty out my kettle, and then I'm going to slowly pick away at getting the tarp down and get everything packed up. All right, guys, I'm starting to pack up the bag right now, and I just stopped and realized that I've had a lot of questions on the channel lately. How do I pack my things? And I don't want to make a separate video on that because I want to focus more on filmmaking and making outdoor films about camping rather than backyard videos. However, I am here right now, so I might as well run you guys through it. So I've got my wax canvas already rolled up in the very bottom, and then I've got the tarp right there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to put my sleeping pad in the very bottom, jam that way down right on top of the bedroll, And that kind of gives the bag form. That'll give it kind of a blocky form. The next thing I'm going to add is my sleeping bag. And these are the two large items, is the sleeping pad and the sleeping bag. So we'll get that in there. It is a tight fit, so I'm going to zip that up. And then I'm left with the whole top portion of the bag open. So set that there for a second. I've got my wax canvas bag here. I'm going to place my kettle inside of the bag. And the reason I made this bag is to keep all that soot and black and all that char and dirtiness off of my gear. So everything in the bag will stay dirty and it'll stay off the rest of my gear. So get that in there. So I've got my kettle in the bag. I'm going to neatly place that on top. Right next to that, I will do my char cloth tin, my coffee tin, my spice kit. Stand that up in there. I've got my spoon and fork in my canvas bag. I'm actually going to slip that up here because I don't want it getting damaged. I don't want it bending the spoon or the fork. Gloves are going to go on the outside. My cup is over there. I got coffee in it. That's also going to go on the outside. So I have a huge void right now, like a big open space. I could fit more room in there. The reason why that's open is because I don't have any food. I ate all my food, so that's what was up in that area. So I do have quite a large area open. So you know what? Realistically, let's put the gloves in there. Let's put the gloves in there, and I am going to put my cup in there. There is enough room. It's not going to get damaged. I'll put the cup in there because there's plenty of room. So the next item, looking around here, I don't have anything else. The guy lines and my tent pegs are in the tarp bag. So that's all in there. And I believe that's it. My coffee filter, it's kind of wet and dirty, so I slipped it on the outside. This backpack does have many waterproof layers, so that being wet will not soak through into the other portion of the pack. And like I said, spoon and fork, nothing in there. All right, so saw I'm going to carry out, so that's in my hand. Now for the walk. So I'll zip this compartment up for now. I'll put the cup in there later. So my titanium walk, get the water scooped out of there. This is actually kind of like a tactical helmet compartment. This fits the contour of that, so I jam it down in there very tightly and then simply do up the compression straps. And that is basically it. So let's get these straps on here. And I left them really nice and tight so it doesn't wobble or wiggle around. That one's really tight. There it goes. All right, so that's the pack up right there. Walk on the outside. The only thing's hanging out is the little top of the tail, or the handle there, the tail of the handle. Everything else is in there. So very, very simple setup. Now my cutting board, I typically put in this area because there is a rear compartment separate. I'll put my grill in there if I'm cooking burgers over a grill or steaks. My cutting board and all that stuff in there. Today I actually put it on the inside of the pack in the hydration sleeve. So there is a ton of room in this pack that I have not utilized. I haven't really utilized a lot of the smaller pockets or anything. I don't think there's anything up here, nothing up there. So very, very straightforward. I hope that helps you guys out. I know it's it's a small pack, but it does fit in there. So, and this is from Tactical Innovations, by the way. This is a 48-hour expandable combat pack from Tactical Innovations. Love it. Very, very good. So that's the pack up. I know I don't do it very often, so I figured I'd take some time, show you guys. Now it's going to be finish my coffee and then clean up the little camp area, get the fire completely put out, and then it's going to be basically hit the road. Okay guys, that is everything packed away in the pack. Camp is cleaned up, the fire, I'm going to kick a little bit more snow on top of that in just a second. But everything is packed away and ready to go. So I had an excellent time. I slept very, very, very warm last night. Very shocked at that. Didn't wake up once, so I was very happy with that. Very happy with the loadout too. Not a huge pack, not a very large loadout. Very, very simple, very compact, and I enjoyed it a lot. So if you guys have any questions or comments on the video or anything else, drop it down in the comment section and I'll do my best to get back to you. Other than that, it is time for me to hit the trail and get hiking, and I've got a little ways to get back to the main road, to the logging road that is, to get back into my truck. So I'm going to try and make that hike quickly because my pants are going to get wet again because the snow off in the forest is a little deep. So I'm going to get on the trail and get out of here. So thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.